My brother sent me a normal text, and that's how I knew his life was in danger. When Leo and I were kids, we were obsessed with puzzles, secret missions, and pretending the world was out to get us. So we created our own private language just for fun, thinking it made us invincible. And instead of saying what we actually meant, we'd swap out normal phrases for hidden ones. Rainy weather meant trouble, movie night meant I need help, and grandma's lasagna meant I'm terrified. It started as a joke, something we used when we wanted to get out of boring family events or warn each other about annoying relatives. Then it turned into a habit that followed us into high school, then into college, and eventually we just forgot about it. Like a toy you leave behind in your childhood bedroom. Except sometimes it would slip out in our conversations without either of us noticing, just muscle memory from a different life. And that's why it confused me when Leo texted me after months of barely talking and said, "Hey, I'm taking a break from everything for a while, don't freak out. I just need space to reset my life, tell everyone I'm fine and not to look for me." Because that didn't sound like him at all. Not the wording, not the tone, not the over-explaining. Leo hated long texts and never cared what people thought. But I tried to convince myself that people change, and maybe he just needed air, except the next message hit me wrong. I've been having a lot of rainy weather lately, but I'm handling it. And my stomach dropped because rainy weather wasn't a normal phrase to him. It was code for danger. And suddenly my heart started racing as I reread everything, wondering if I'd missed more. And over the next 2 days, he kept texting in this strange, unnatural way, saying things like, "I made some new friends and they're really into movie nights." And, "The lasagna here is actually pretty good." And to anyone else, it would look harmless, maybe even cheerful. But to me, it read like an alarm bell because new friends in our code meant strangers. Movie night meant he needed help, and grandma's lasagna meant he was terrified. And I realized my brother wasn't taking a vacation. He was asking me to save him without letting whoever was watching him know. So I started replying in a careful, normal tone, terrified someone else had his phone, saying things like, "That sounds fun, send me a photo sometime, and make sure you get enough sleep," while secretly screenshotting every message, zooming in on every detail. And then the final text came in at 3:18 a.m. and made my hands go numb. I'm in a small town now, super quiet, nothing but rainy weather and movie nights. The people here love lasagna, and I'm starting to like it too. It actually reminds me of that abandoned skate park we used to go to as kids. And that's when it fully clicked, because that skate park wasn't just a memory. It was off Route 26 near an area no one ever passed through anymore. So I finally called the police and told them I believed my brother was being held somewhere near that road, and that he was using an old childhood code to communicate without alerting his captor, and I knew it sounded insane. But thankfully one officer listened, checked recent traffic and camera reports, and sent a unit to sweep the area while I sat on my floor in total silence, staring at my phone, waiting, praying I wasn't crazy. And an hour later, I got a call that made me collapse in relief. They'd found him in a rundown house about half a mile from the abandoned skate park, locked in a back room by a man he barely knew from a temporary job who'd become obsessed with him and lured him out under the promise of fast money. And the scariest part wasn't that Leo had been kidnapped. It was that the kidnapper thought he'd covered every base by forcing Leo to text people that he was fine. Except he didn't know that under those normal sentences was a language created by two stupid kids trying to feel powerful. And when the officers finally brought Leo home, he could barely stand. But the first thing he did was hug me and whisper, "You still remembered." And I laughed and cried at the same time because I honestly didn't even realize I had until it mattered. And later he told me the man who took him kept saying, "You seemed so calm on your phone, I thought you were okay with this." And Leo just looked at him and said, "I wasn't calm. I was speaking to the only person who knew how to hear me." And to this day, neither of us ever says rainy weather, movie night, or lasagna out loud anymore, because some words aren't just words, they're lifelines.